Welcome ladies and gentlemen to my Nightblade bow gank build Silentium for Homestead update 13. I have done quite a few cool changes. So first off, we want to go through the basics in the first part of the video. In the second part of the video I will show you off some combos and what kind of playstyle you should aim for with this build. Now first off, you want to be a vampire. Simply because of this passive, ignore the movement speed penalty while in crouch. And it also decreases the time it takes to crouch, but like to get into crouch by 50% when it's dark, so that's really nice. Just be aware you have to be Vampire stage 4 that this is active. And I also have this here because it increases our magic and stamina recovery by 10%, plus the undeath. Really useful passives. I am a wood elf. I recommend being a wood elf because increases your damage done while in stealth by 10%. That's a lot. That's why our damage is freaking insane. And also increases your stamina recovery by 21%. Khajiit also works because it also gets the extra 10% more damage. Now, what else is there? Shadow Mundus Stone, you see, increase your critical damage done by 18%. We will hit like a truck with this. We are using tri-stat buff food because we need the magicka. We have around 14k magicka. We need it because we have support abilities that increase our damage by a ton. So we need this magicka. Potion wise, I recommend using, like I like to use those here, because they give me a speed buff, CC immunity and stamina. So we want to avoid melee combat with this build, because we want to take out enemies from far away. Snipe has a 48 meter range, it's insane. And it hits like a truck, so when you see people running for you, it's time to reposition yourself. So I really like the speed those potions give. If you don't know how to craft those, on my website you will find the ingredients. The link is down in the description below. You also can use those here. They give you magicka. Sometimes when you're low on magicka it might be nice because we have a few abilities that use magicka. When you use it, bam, you're back to full. There's a few others. I will list them all on my website. Now in terms of gear, so basically we use 5 marksmen and 5 Hawkeye. Last patch we used Morak Tong. If you want to use Morak Tong, make sure to use Lethal Arrow. Like, both setups are totally fine. Just the ability is different. Now, Marksman gives you 8% increased damage versus player, and Hawkeye gives you 5%, that's 13% in total, that's a lot. Plus 5% cost reduction, 5% cost reduction. It's like our bow abilities basically cost nothing, and the marksman 5% bonus works on all your abilities. So that's really nice. Stamina abilities. 1 piece Krog, 2k physical penetration, like, is a lot better than 129 weapon damage, so make sure to have this. And make sure that it's in heavy armor because we have 6 medium and 1 heavy, simply due to the Undaunted metal passive. Gives us 4% more overall resources. All weapon damage enchants on your jewelry. Hawkeye and Marksman you will find both in guild stores. Make sure to get the Marksman bow because it's easier to get than a Hawkeye one, and also cheaper most likely. I have a poison damage enchantment here, simply because we want, like, it's the best way to deal the max amount of damage. All stamina enchants on your gear, and make sure it's divine, because if you don't have divine, your shadow will only do like 12% extra damage. Last patch I used impenetrable, but it's just, if you play the build correctly, you shouldn't get into melee fights or you shouldn't take a lot of damage. So we rather optimize our maximum damage output than like go more defensive. Back bar, basically here you can use a random two-hander, just make sure it's defending. Now when you look 11k resistances, when we go to our two-hander bar, we have 16, almost 17k. Simply, if somebody drops a hard-hitting ability on you, like a shooting star or something, you want to be here and block. And you will take less damage, because this makes you slightly more tanky. If you have a Maelstrom or a Master two-hander, you also can use it. Okay, that's really important. Just make sure it's defending. That's basically the gear setup. Again, the setup we used last patch still works totally fine. Now, champion points wise, 100 Warlord, 20 Sprinter, 40 Mooncalf, then 30 into Tumbling to reduce the roll dodge and break free, and 10 into Shade. 100 Mighty, 50 Piercing and 50 Precise Strikes. This will give you a shit ton of damage, believe me. 20 into Resistance, 40 Thick Skinned, 70 Hardy, 70 Elemental Defender. Now again, we have Unchained here, so basically reduces the stamina cost of your next ability by 80% if you break free, but it doesn't really help for this playstyle a lot, but we still have it, just like most people forget about this, so just as a reminder. That's basically the setup. If you think you need slightly more healing, you also can put a few more into quick recovery, for example, because we shouldn't really get a lot of damage and then you get slightly more healing. It's up to you. The damage champion points here are the most important. Now, let's move on to the skills. Basically, poison injection here, so this is like a really strong dot, and the execute ability. We have shadowy disguise, so now this skill is very important. As you can see, your next attack within 3 seconds will always be a critical strike. Now I will show you in a second how you have to utilize this, because you need to use your skill first and then use this. Because when you are 48 meters away from your target, the travel time of Snipe is quite long. So you need to use this slightly, like shortly before it impacts. But we will get to that in a second. Then we have focused aim. Now if I buff myself completely up, we sit at like 17k damage, and that's without the 13% extra damage. Plus, remember, bow passive far away, another 12%, so 25% more damage on top of the 17k. That's a shit ton. Radiant Mage Light is mainly here to empower our next hit. If you go to Mage's Guild here, casting the Mage's Guild ability grants your empower, increasing the damage of your next direct damage attack by 20%. So that's why like you want to use this and then cast the Snipe. Draining Shot. Now in case somebody finds you and wants to kill you, this is a really nice ability to knock them back from you. It also disorients them, and you see after the disorient ends you heal for almost 10k. That's really nice. And why do we use this here? It's also because of Ballista. This ability is really strong. If we are buffed, and keep in mind the bonus is not even applied to a Hawkeye and Marksman, the 13% extra damage. So in case somebody finds you, you pop this and then immediately shoot this at him. So he gets knocked back and he can't block the insane damage from Ballista, and he will most likely die, believe me, unless he's in heavy armor or something, because this hits so hard, it's insane. Second bar, Rally. So here we get our Major Brutality from, increases your weapon damage by 20%, and it also a small heal over time. And you see the final here is increased by up to 564% in proportion to the length rally has been active. So the longer it is active, the stronger the burst heal gets. So if something hits me at like, and I sit at like 10k health, and I have 10 seconds left in the rally, I can pop it, and it will put me back to full health. It's so strong. Relentless Focus, we get Minor Berserker from here, 8% extra damage. That's really nice. And it also gives us 10% more stamina recovery. Shadow Image. This here is kind of tricky to use, and it will take time to master. It's again more of an escape tool. I will showcase you that in a second. What you want to do is, like, if you master this ability, you will be insanely strong, and it will be insanely difficult to catch you. You can jump off like rocks and stuff. If an enemy follows you, you activate the shade, you jump off a rock. He follows you down and you can teleport back up. You see, while the shade is summoned, you can activate this ability again to teleport to the shade's location. So that's one way of getting rid of like enemies. But it's really difficult at the start, so it needs a lot of practice. Shuffle, in case you get into a dodgy situation, 15% extra dodge chance. Really nice. And the thing is, when you dodge something, as long as you're dodging, everything misses. So if like 10 enemy skills hit you while you're dodging, those skills will all miss. It doesn't only dodge one skill, it dodges all skills while you're dodging. Then we have Vigor. This is our heal over time. Like, if you are in a tricky situation, make sure to keep this up. And Barrier here, again, I prefer using Ballista, but in case there is several enemies on you, use Barrier. It gives you just a really nice shield, and it gives you like a little bit of breathing room. That's it. Now in terms of passives, of course, Alchemy, you need medicinal use. When using potions, resulting effects last 30% longer, so that's a very important passive. And then, of course, like, just try to get those two passives. Fighter skill passives are necessary. Major skill, you need the last one here, Might of the Guild. Otherwise, you will not get the 20% extra damage from Radiant Mage Light when you cast it. Undaunted. Then the vampires I showed you. You want medium armor, and because we are wearing one heavy armor Krag, you want Juggernaut. Increases your max health by 2% for each piece heavy armor equipped. So it's a little bit more health, because our health is not high. Medium armor, you need everything, and then two-hander and bow. Bow is really important. Like, you want to snipe your targets as far away as possible because of the 12% extra damage boost. Another really interesting one is Hawkeye. As long as you keep light attacking, you gain 5% extra damage on your enemies. So especially when you like have to run away or something and use Ballista, try to get a few light attacks in so your Ballista hits really hard. Hasty Retreat is also cool because we get the speed buff. However, as I said, I like to use those potions, so we already have a speed buff. And this speed buff doesn't fall off. Like, we have it for the full duration, so we are always like moving around really fast. And of course all class passives if possible. Now let's get on to showing you what kind of combinations you want to pull off. Now let's get to some combos. As you can see, I am very far away, and you see I still can use my Snipe. It has 43 meters range, that's huge. So that's like 43 meters. That's so far away, and remember, the further we are away, the more damage we are going to do because of long shots. So now, what do you want to do to prepare to snipe a target? Rally, then you want to use Relentless Focus to get the 8% extra damage. Radiant Mage Light this here, and then use Snipe immediately, because this only has a 5 seconds timer. When you look here. Damage of your next direct damage attack by 20% for 5 seconds, so you don't have a lot of time. Now I will just shoot one snipe to see how hard it hits. I see it hits very hard. This dude has 25k health. I almost one-shots him. He has armor on, and also, like, if you have enemies that even have lower champion points because of like stuff like this here from the defensive tree, like when they have less points into hardy, stuff like that, you will hit them, so you basically almost one-shot them. And they have no time to react, more or less, simply because of what combos you can pull off. So now, what is also very important, you see, your next attack within 3 seconds will always be a critical strike. So you need to use Shadow Disguise like a second before the snipe impacts, because if you use it before you snipe, like the effect will be gone till the snipe hits the target. So you need to use it very wisely, like this, and then hup. And you see, I didn't do a light attack, but because I have a poison enchant, my poison enchant also like hit at the same time as my snipe, so it's even more damage. To really make sure that your enemy is going to die, you want to shoot like 2 snipes. You will empower the first one, shoot twice, cloak, and maybe a poison injection, but usually he's already dead. But it is very important that you like cloak up, so you get the critical hit strike. That's very important. Always use your surroundings as an advantage, because usually if you can't kill an enemy instantly, you just should reposition yourself. So when I just shoot something, I can cloak and just go away, and before the snipe hits the enemy, like, I'm long gone. He doesn't know where I came from. That's something you have to learn. And now, in case like you will get into a melee fight, for example, there is basically this draining shot ballista combo. If you don't like draining shot, you also could use mass hysteria, because like when they are blocking, it will drop their block. So just to showcase you how fast the enemy actually rips while you use ballista. First you wanna drop the ballista and then use draining shot. And after the draining shot, just shoot the poison injection and try to escape. Or just use the ballista, draining shot, and try to escape if you get followed by too many. You see, sure, the target didn't move, but you see how much damage the ballista did. It's insane. That dude had 25k health and he just instantly rips. Like, he doesn't even have time to break free, because the draining shot knocks the enemy back by 6 meters, and during that time he cannot block, so it deals a lot of damage. Now again, if you have a target blocking, you could use mass hysteria, so he has to drop block. So use ballista and then mass hysteria, and he will get 2-3 hits unblocked before he can break free, because the ballista shoots so fast. That's basically the technique behind, but just remember, only use this if you get in a tricky situation. Usually, if you're experienced enough, that shouldn't happen at all, just saying. Now anyway, if you have any questions, ask me in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.